All right, folks, we're live 11 a.m. on Tuesday morning here. We're at Platinum Financial, supporter of FCA, Fellowship of Christian Athletes. Heath Esslinger here with Fellowship of Christian Athletes. So good to be back. Hope you guys have had a great weekend. Thanks so much. Last week, over 18,000 views on this video. It's crazy. You people must be bored out there, but I am grateful that you are watching. But over 18,000 views on last week's video. I hope you enjoyed that. Kudos to all of you that have commented, shared. We value your feedback. We want to bring things to you that benefit you as parents, coaches, and ultimately we want that benefit to spill over into the athletes. 17 years ago today, I was an elementary school PE teacher at Taylor Elementary in Bradley County, Tennessee. My first teaching job out of high school. Shout out to all the educators there. And probably the most significant thing in history that's happened in my lifetime took place that day as we saw America shut down. So, man, we just want to take a moment and simply pause and just say thank you to the people that risk their lives every day to keep us safe. And we want to not take this lightly. This morning, as I took my daughters to school, I have 3 middle school girls. As I took them to school, I made them watch some videos of that event on September 11th, 2001, because I think sometimes we fail to remember just how lucky we are to live in this great nation and all the freedoms we have. And so many people would trade for our bad days. So just wanted to put that out there because we do not want to take that lightly. We want to be grateful. So I got a call last week from a parent just seeking some advice as they kind of navigate how to handle a situation on this sports journey. It's super, super difficult. Obviously, our goal as a parent is to always try to make the best decision we can with our kids. And here's what I want you to know. I do not have all the answers. I am a struggling fool on this journey. I have 4 children, 3 middle school girls and a 6-year-old son. So I do not have all the answers, but here's what I don't want to do. I don't want to settle for less. I want to keep sport in its proper perspective, and I want to make a difference, and I want sport to benefit my children in a positive way, not just because of their performance, but because of all the things that sport can bring. But parenting is a complex deal, and I believe there are some principles that we can follow that will help us on this journey. I don't think they're going to eliminate all our issues. Humans are complex, and sin has kind of messed this whole thing up. But I do believe there's some principles that we can follow and adhere to that will help us on this journey. So we're going to get right into it. Principle number 1, as you parent and you navigate this sports journey, principle number 1 is this: always make family decisions, not kid decisions. As we kind of decide on things for our children in this sports world, one of the things we have to take into account is how others are affected. Obviously, I have 4 kids. All in with one, well, it affects both mom and dad, and it affects the other 3 kids. So I always try to tell parents, and I told this parent last week as they called me to seek for advice, I said, listen, don't make a decision based on that child. Make a decision based on what is best for your family, because at the end of the day, family is the thing that we're trying to move forward. There's no certain activity. There's not one activity at 9 years old that's going to keep them from the NFL. So saying no to that activity is not going to cost them. And oftentimes saying no to a couple of those activities allows your child to see that you actually value family more than any certain activity. I often tell parents, if you follow me on social media at Heath Esslinger or listen to me at all, I often tell parents, listen, our job as parents is not to provide our kids with all the best opportunities. It is not our job. Our job is to discern what are the right opportunities that will help move our son or daughter forward to prepare them for real life. So principle number 1, man, make a family decision, not a kid decision. So when you are asked to be on a team or you're asked to do something, you have to sit down and say, hey, does this fit within our family? Can we make this work? And is it what is best for us right now? Because our job is not to provide them all the best opportunities. It's to discern what are the right opportunities. And those right opportunities are a family decision. So principle number 2, make an effort, okay? Make an effort, just like we ask our kids. Make an effort to not discuss coaching decisions and frustrations in front of your child. You can ask questions because we always want our children to be safe and things like that. You can ask questions, but I ask that you guard yourself from belittling and questioning strategies and decisions. It's real easy when they get in the car or when you're at home to kind of, with your spouse, discuss things. I always think we should try to side with the coach and side with the educator and let our kids work through some of those struggles. But be very, very careful of always talking about those things and really just being frustrated with those people, because here's what happens is when they see your frustration, your mom and dad, they trust you. When they see your frustration, what it does is it hinders their ability to believe in that coach or teacher themselves. And ultimately, it's going to hurt their improvement and how much they get better at that practice or that game or whatever. So principle number 2 is this: just make an effort not to discuss coaching strategies and frustrations and things like that in front of your child. By protecting them from that, here's what they do. They go into practice with an open mind. And even if you don't think that coach is the greatest thing since sliced bread, if they just simply believe in that, what that coach is doing, it will give them the best chance possible to make improvements during that season of their life. So, and I know this, we want what's best for our children. So principle number 3 is this: always ask about team performance before individual performance. Always ask about team performance before individual performance. True story on me. Last year, I was at a wrestling tournament, and I didn't get to go to an event that my daughter was playing in, which is totally okay. It's not like a sin if you miss an event. But I didn't get to go to this event, so I called after the event, and the first thing I asked was this: how did you play? And immediately, listen, I was kicking myself in the tail as soon as I did it, because immediately I realized that I don't need to ask first and foremost, how did she play? The first question I need to ask is, hey, how did the team play? And then once she gives me a response on how the team played, then maybe I can follow up with, how did you play? As a coach who's coached middle school, high school, I got to coach at the Division I level. As a coach who's coached at all different levels, here's what I know. We don't have to teach kids to be individuals. We don't have to teach them to be selfish. And coaches at the upper levels all the time now say, man, why are these kids just not team oriented? It's because we've never taught them to be team oriented. I mean, from 6 years old through high school, they've had their own individual coach, their own hitting coach, their own strength coach, their own running coach, their own technique coach, and they have all these things that point to them as an individual. And then all of a sudden we want them to be focused on being a team player. It's not going to happen. We have to have strategies that actually show that team is important to us. So as you parent on this journey, one of the things that the principles that I always say is make sure you always value the team performance over the individual performance. And I know it's tough because you're investing the money and you're investing the time in your son or daughter, but I truly believe that in the long run, if our goal is to equip them for real life, then valuing the team over that individual performance will actually help them in that regard. It will also just help them not to be so stinking selfish. And we all know if you have kids and you're really being honest, we can all be selfish at times. So principle number 4 is this: predetermine post-game and practice communication. Predetermine post-game and practice communication. If we don't predetermine what that looks like, then here's what happens. We show all this frustration. Listen, decide not to talk about the game, coach, officials. Be the parent. If the normal plan was to go eat after the game, then parents, go eat. If every time they play bad or they lose, you don't go eat, then here's what you're telling your child: that you only value when their performance meets the standard that you say. Listen, I've been in athletics a long time. You're going to lose at times. You're going to get beat. And we don't need to show our kids, especially at 7, 8, 9 years old, at some point they're going to choose, hey, I don't want to go eat. I'm going to go practice more. And that's what we want. That's what we call intrinsic motivation, whole nother topic. But we don't want our parenting to look like that the only thing we value is the outcome of that thing. If the plan was to go eat, go eat. If you normally talk in the car afterwards, then talk in the car. Don't just be silent when things don't go your way. Here's what I know. Your behavior communicates what you value. Your behavior and your body language and your verbal language communicates to your child what you value. If after every loss you're mad or silent, here's what they will realize: that the only thing you value is the outcome. True story with me. We lost a match a few years ago when I was a head coach. We went out to eat after that match. My daughters were all young, and my oldest daughter said, "Hey, Dad, let's play tic-tac-toe." And I said, "I don't want to play tic-tac-toe," because I was still frustrated over the loss. And my wife, who's always very honest with me, said, "Listen, she had nothing to do with that win or loss. That's your immaturity, the fact that you're not playing tic-tac-toe. It had nothing to do with me being competitive. At the end of the day, I was being a baby. I was neglecting my daughter because I didn't get what I wanted, and I was missing out on a tic-tac-toe game with a 10-year-old girl that's awesome." So listen, at times we have to check ourselves, and we have to make sure that we're not getting so caught up in those things that we miss out on other opportunities. So principle number 1 is this: make family decisions, not kid decisions. Principle number 2 is this: make an effort not to discuss decisions and frustrations in front of your child. Principle number 3, always ask about team performance and not just individual performance. Teach them and help them be a team player. And then principle number 4, predetermined post-game practice and game communication. Don't fall into that trap of always trying to be the coach as soon as the game's over. Here's what I want you to know. All this is not about being soft. I want you to hold them accountable to daily expectations, man. Hold them accountable to what you expect in your home. Hold them accountable to what you expect in school. This isn't about being soft. It's about teaching them to be resilient. It's about teaching them to be intrinsically motivated so that if they do want to be great at this thing called sport, they actually have a chance, because at some point you're not making those decisions for them. They are having to make those decisions as an individual. So some upcoming events: 24 Hours with God, October 5th and 6th at Cleveland High School. We'll be sending a link out to all the high school coaches in this area. If you're within driving distance of Cleveland, Tennessee, we'd love to have you there October 5th and 6th for that event. Parent Conference, November 5th. If you have enjoyed these videos, jump on or get online, sign up. We'll send the link out later for our parent conference on November 5th. That's going to be at Silverdale Creekside. We're going to do one in Ooltewah. We want to do these all over the country, because I believe this: God hasn't just called us to be agents in our kids' life. We're not a sport agent. We're a parent, and our job is to train that child up in the way he should go. And that way is toward a relationship with Christ. So I am excited for the opportunity to get to speak into parents' lives. So just a reminder, coaches out there, we kind of jumped on the parents today. We're going to kind of hit the coaches next week and how we can mend some of those relationships with parents and get everyone rowing in the same direction. But coaches, here's my challenge to you: coach them hard and love them harder. Man, give them your best, but give them your best in everything so that they know they can trust you with their lives. Parents, don't focus on being the coach. Be their parent. Prepare them for life. Sport will at some point end. We have got to prepare them for life, and let them know every time that event ends, make sure that you let them know how much you love to watch them play. Thanks for tuning in this week. Can't wait to see you guys next week.